This is part two of my conversation with Nicole Smith, the Executive Director of the Association of Leaders in Volunteer Engagement, also known as ALIVE. If you haven't already, make sure to listen to part one to hear how her journey begins. In this episode, Nicole continues to share her story on how she built a nonprofit. She emphasizes the importance of having a clear vision, staying accountable to your goals, and consistently demonstrating excellence and integrity, particularly in being a strong, reliable intern. Towards the end, Nicole shares what she believes is the most important thing to consider when starting a business. Tune in and enjoy the conversation. I hope it leaves you inspired. And if you're enjoying the show, make sure to subscribe, share this episode with friends, and leave a rating. It really helps other teens find this show too. Due to video quality issues, this episode will be presented in an audio only format. Thank you. You founded a nonprofit, Step It Up Inc., using dance to teach teamwork and after school programs. What inspired you to combine
Yeah,
performing arts with youth leadership and teamwork skills?
I was passionate about it. I loved to dance.
Mhm.
I loved to inspire people. And when I founded it, I was yeah, well, I consider myself young. And I was a young mom
Yeah.
when I founded the organization. And
Mhm.
just being able to encourage and give life to people through dance, it was a win-win. It was an absolute win-win.
It's pretty impressive that you started a nonprofit while you were also a mother and in such a time like maybe this is just a canon event for everyone, but I feel like your 20s are a big canon event and you're in the middle of this canon event, you're a mother and you're starting something completely new. So that kudos to you, girl.
Thank you. And part of it was I had no idea what I was doing. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna go do this. Because if somebody had told me all the work there was gonna take, I probably wouldn't have done it. So it was a
Mhm.
benefit that I had no idea what I was doing. It's like I just know that I have this passion and I want to do this. And they said that if I get this 501(c)(3 that people will give me to help me do it.
Yeah.
Cool, I'm gonna go do it. And
Mhm.
then it just took off from there. So um yeah, yeah, it was. I love it. I've always said that that's one of the things that if I do win the lottery, I would start that back up like
Love that.
tomorrow. Start it back up tomorrow.
Immediately. No hesitations whatsoever. I love that. Um,
And I say I have all the framework. I still have everything. So yeah, I would just step in and step it up.
that rhymes so good. No, that's incredible. In Game On, you outline a six-step process, such as exposure excuses, set small attainable goals, to trust your gut, change perspectives, overcome
Huh?
self-doubt for pursuing dreams. Could you walk us through that framework and pick one step you believe is often skipped by many ambitious young people?
I think it's a tie between accountability and envisioning that you can do it because you have to first believe that it's possible and that you can do it. And we are often the first critic to tell ourselves that we can't do it. How many times have you gone into a room and you're like, why am I don't believe people aren't going to listen to
So
me,
many
blah,
times,
blah,
yeah.
blah, blah. And other like, what are you doing? Yeah, right? Like, so we're often to do that to ourselves. And your mindset is so important, so important. Um, and so you have to believe it in yourself first, because how do you get other people to believe in you if you don't believe in yourself? Because we've all seen that person who you're like, you are absolutely, you can do this, or you're this, or somebody who you think is just like stunning and beautiful, and you're like, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful, and they're like, no, I'm not. And they really don't, they're just like, no. And I'm like, are we looking at the same person? Like, what are you talking about? But
Yeah.
like, if you don't believe it in yourself, how are you going to convince other people to believe in you. And often it comes down to you're the only one in your room and you have that dream and like your parents aren't there and you're picking up the phone to call everybody for encouragement and nobody's available for whatever reason. How do you encourage yourself? And how do you stay believing that this is important because you believe in it? So envisioning and believing that you can do it and then being held accountable because lack of accountability is huge. How many people on January 1st are like, oh, I'm gonna do this. Like I'm gonna
Yes.
go to the
Oh,
gym. I'm gonna do
New
this.
Year's
I'm gonna do this.
resolutions. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, yes. Like, what's the point, right? Um, and then 3 weeks later, nothing. So having an accountability partner is huge. Who is going to help you along that journey? Who's going to be the person that checks in with you to be like, hey, how did you work out? Did you go to the gym this week? Or did you only eat apples instead of like apple pie? And I'd be
Mhm.
like, well, the apples were in the pie. It counts. Um, uh, that accountability partner, who is that person who's going to walk alongside you? Maybe you all have the same goal and you're helping each other to achieve it. Or it's somebody that's just going to check in with you each week and be like, hey, how's it going? And it's one of those things like maybe you didn't do so well according to your goals this week, but that's okay. You put it aside and try again next week. But that person who was there. So the two of those I say are it's a tie. It's a tie because one it requires you believing in you and the other one requires somebody else believing in you and helping you to get there. But you need both to help you encourage you on those days when you're just like, what am I doing? Why am I
And those days
here?
are completely normal. I feel like even now on social media and on the internet and just like hearing people talk to accept that rotting or just being in a slump for just one day or just a couple of days at a time is
Okay.
normal. Every human goes through that.
Outside of that, like, yeah, don't be fooled. Don't be
Mhm.
fooled. People will tell me all the time, they're like, oh my gosh, Nicole, your social media and you're doing this. And I was like, first of all, I sat and I scheduled all of that. Like I sat one day and scheduled it for a month. So I don't even remember the post when it goes live and what I was doing. So no, I'm not as much as y'all think. Like, so don't be fooled. Don't get it twisted.
Right.
Not,
Yeah.
not real. Yeah.
You've prepped hundreds of interns for the workforce. From your
Yeah.
viewpoint, what distinguishes an intern who shows up versus an intern who stands out?
The one who shows up versus the one who stands out is the one that goes above and beyond. And I know in our society today there's a lot of, well, I'm only going to do just what like just enough. I'm only going to do X
Doing the bare
amount and that's
minimum
it.
almost. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Um but And in depending on the situation, right? If you really have an organization or a boss or a job that's really taking like full, advantage of you, okay. But still operate in such a way that you are getting the benefit out of it, right? Because oftentimes, like in the workplace, it'll be like other duties as assigned, and you're doing all of these other things. So you have a choice. You can either be like, no, that was not in the job description. That's outside of my job description. I'm only going to do these things. Or you can look at it as an opportunity to be like, that's one more thing that I'm going to learn, one more notch, one more thing that's going to make me marketable to help me get out of here,
Having that like
right?
growth
And
mindset
then
and learning mindset. Yeah.
yes. And so going above and beyond, that's definitely a standout. And also just doing things in excellence. So even if you are doing only what was asked, doing what was asked with excellence. And I don't mean
Mhm.
perfection. So if you misspell a word or whatever, that's not what I mean. But are you turning it in on time as opposed to turning it in early? Neither of those are bad in any way. But to me, the person who stands out, um, even if they're not able to make the deadline, because again, we're all going to miss a deadline. The difference is, hey, I'm not going to make this deadline. Um, can I push it back? Or this is when I can do it. Or the person who just shows up, misses the deadline, never communicates about it, never apologizes for it, and never makes a solution as to this is what I can do.
Mhm.
Um, there's no shame in those who are just showing up because we had talked about a little bit earlier, showing up sometimes is half of the battle, right? Like that's huge. But standing out is doing it with excellence. Are you doing it in such a way that not only can you be proud of it, but does it reflect well on the organization? Does it reflect well on the people who you are who you are presenting whatever the assignment to is? Does it help build you up as a person? Does it help um solidify you and your character and your integrity? Those are the things to
The
me
most
that
valuable
I'm
one.
like, they're gonna make it. And like I've had interns who would get to the point where they already know what I'm going to ask them each week. So it gets to the point that I don't even have to ask them. I
Yeah.
don't even have to ask. I go to say, and they're like, oh, and here is this, 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 this. They anticipated and they came up and thought 3 steps ahead to help make my workday easier. Stand out. And showing up and standing out for sure.
So this is a quick rapid fire here. If you had to describe yourself in one word,
Okay.
what would it be and why?
Accountable
Okay.
because it makes the world go round. Accountability breeds trust. It
Mhm.
helps things move forward. It that's that yeah. And a lot of people don't like to talk about it. A lot of people don't like to talk about it. People don't like to talk about accountability because if you're not accountable, some people feel shameful about it. Like, oh, I didn't keep my word. And instead of owning it, they shy away from it because they're embarrassed or they're, whatever it is. And I tell people all the time, like, if you miss a deadline or you can't do something, just say something. It's no big deal. Everybody can adjust. But if you don't, that's when it causes trouble. Lack of accountability can break down communication. It breaks down systems within an organization. It breaks down trust, all of those things. So I would say if there's one thing that I can say is that I am accountable.
Mm, nice, nice. What is one thing you do daily or weekly that keeps you grounded?
Oh, yes, it keeps me grounded. Um, well, this doesn't necessarily keep me grounded, but it keeps me it's like a part of self-care that helps me
I love that.
to move through daily. Um, I mean, there's several things, but I make sure that I find some type of time to work out. If that means going for
Mhm.
a walk, going for a run,
Mhm.
and during that, like I will either listen to music, I might meditate, but it's like a moment of like, oh, I guess a moment of grounding
Yeah,
to get my mindset. So it's not just me working out, but it's like clearing my brain and I think so much or I don't think at all. Um, but
right.
yeah, I would say definitely working out and doing some kind of movement. And sometimes it's dance, sometimes it's whatever, but it's some type of movement or something that rejuvenates me and helps me get through the day or helps to release stress and tension and frustration and all of those things.
Yeah.
It's hard to be mad when you're tired, when you
Yeah.
can't breathe. It's hard to be mad when you're
Mhm.
like, like it's hard to
Oh
be
my
mad.
gosh. Yeah. Exercising and moving your body is probably the best thing you can do. Like science has proven it as well.
Yes, yes, indeed, indeed.
So we're wrapping up here now. Um,
Okay.
sad. This conversation was so lovely. Um, but for our audience, especially the young leaders and self-entrepreneurs who are currently listening to this right now, what is the single most important takeaway that you want them to walk away with right now?
Don't do it alone. Find your tribe, find a coach, find whatever it is, if you're pursuing your own business, if you're pursuing like anything, just in general, in like just don't do life alone. Um, there's this concept of Ubuntu, and it basically translates into I am because we are.
Hmm.
And we thrive when we are a part of a community. We thrive when we are a part of a community. It's because it's not only what you get from the community, but it's also what you can give back as well.
Interesting.
And in those times when, again, when things get difficult and they're rough, right? You might need the one that need the encouragement, but
Right.
also there's the other way around. You can then also be that encouragement. You know, you might be young, but you can also speak life and encouragement into your parents, into your grandmother, into your teachers, into the adults, not only just your peers, but to the adults in your life. I mean, and that's what builds community. That's what makes our lives like full and fulfilled, right?
Yeah.
Don't do it don't do it alone. Don't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm going to make it on my own. Nobody makes it. Nobody makes it to the top alone. Nobody makes it to the top on their own. Michael Jordan, one of the greatest, if not, arguably the best basketball player in the world, still had a coach, still had a team in order
It's
to
crazy
get
to
to
believe
where he
that.
was.
Yeah.
And it still takes somebody from the outside looking in to say, hey, adjust this, look at this, right?
Yeah.
Um, and okay, yes, that's definitely a team sport, but then still look at track and field. It's still an individual sport. It's still based upon that or what that person's doing, yet and still they have a coach. And sometimes they have the sprint coach, and then they have the weight and strengthening coach, and they have the nutrition coach, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Nobody gets to the top by themselves. So whatever you're doing and pursuing in life, don't do
Mhm.
it alone.
Yeah. It takes a village to get to the top. I mean,
Yes. Well, and even the organization that I am now the executive director for, I started out as a member and I
mm,
took part in their mentor program and I went to the communities of practice where I could bounce ideas and learn from other people. I volunteered for the organization, helped to give back and learned and made connections and all of those things. And we're talking about sometimes we're like, oh, we shouldn't be in the room. I wasn't even going to apply for this position. I wasn't going to apply this. It wasn't until like the fourth person was like, Nicole, you should do this. Nicole, you should do this. Nicole, you should do this. And then I did apply. And then I spoke to the person who I applied and I was like, I think I'm going to rescind my application. And she was like, tell me
oh my
more.
gosh.
And I was like, well, because I can't do this
Yeah.
and I don't have this and I don't this and I don't. And she was like, no, no, just leave it. If you're not the right fit, let them tell you, but you don't discount yourself. And here I am.
Here you
And
are.
that came because of the community that built. And here I am, right? And that
Yeah.
came because of the community that I built, um, not doing it alone. People looking out for me even when I wasn't looking out for myself. People looking out for me when I was doubting myself. So, yeah, just don't do it alone. Don't do it alone.
Looking ahead, what's on the horizon for you and what are you most excited about?
I am excited about leading the organization that I'm at and making really great strides in the nonprofit arena. Um, and there might be some more dancing in my near future. Like there's some things that are going on.
Exciting.
Um, yeah, I'm kind of excited about it. There's some things that are going on that stars are aligning that
Mhm.
there might be an opportunity for me to dance again. So I'm like,
Yeah.
depending on what happens, and that means I have to start getting back into
Yeah.
dance audition shape. Um, but even if not, I still might just go back to dance classes anyway because it just fuels my soul. So, um, but those are a couple of things that, I'm looking forward to.
That's exciting. That sounds so amazing. And I'm wishing you the best in all of that, your future journey with dance, even with your nonprofit moving ahead. And finally, how can the listeners listening to this episode right now connect with you and get involved with your mission?
Yes, absolutely. I am on Instagram and LinkedIn. And the tag is at Nicole R. Smith net. Nicole R. Smith net. I would say I'm on Facebook, but I know you young folk are not on Facebook, so we'll just forget about that. I am not on TikTok because I can't handle it. I can only handle so many things at once, but I'm definitely on Instagram. And I say LinkedIn because if you are looking really to be an entrepreneur and looking for that business like insight, think about starting a LinkedIn account with your parents, talk to your parents, but it's professional. It's like professionals like myself and others who are leading in industries that you want to go into, who are sharing fabulous content. And like there's one thing I'll put a shout out to. There's an organization called Points of Light, and they actually have a like it's a nonprofit organization and they have a nonprofit board, but they actually have like a youth advisor that sits on the board. I think he's 18. I think he's 18. And he's sitting in the room with CEOs and VPs and all these kinds of things because they wanted the voice of the youth in the room as they are building out these new programs and things that are going to help change the world. They want that youth voice in there. So, you know, LinkedIn is a really great place to learn from other business people, other entrepreneurs, and there could be opportunities for you to sit on boards as the youth advocate and connect with other people who are doing amazing things to help you on your journey. But talk to your parents first.
Yeah, and also like being on such boards and all that, I feel like these organizations, especially nonprofits, and I've seen it more commonly within nonprofits. So, just on that side of businesses and everything, they're focused heavily on what the future generation is going to do because
Yes, they
the
are.
future relies on us. Like
Yes, it
what we're
does.
doing right now, it could be
Yes.
gone in 20 years from today. Like you
Yeah.
don't know, none of us have a crystal ball to see what is life going to be like in the next 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. So it's yeah, it's pretty significant and pretty substantial that such measures and actions are being taken place right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And just one thing I wanted to let you know, my I had to sunset my nonprofit dance organization. So it's not up and running right now. But that's not to say that like when I retire that it couldn't come back or may not, but it's always just like right under the radar.
Mhm.
So if somebody's reaching out to me about the dance part, but I'm happy to talk to people about dance and auditions and running and starting a nonprofit and all of those aspects. If they're interested in that, I'm happy to have that conversation in that chat. But I just wanted to let people know, just in case if that was their main thing, that like I could still
Yeah.
talk about it, but it's just not up and running right now.
Thank you for letting the audience know that as well. I'm going to put that in the description of this episode as well. Nicole, thank you so much for joining me today. Um, I hope you, I hope all goes well with whatever you decide to pursue next with your dancing journey, your nonprofit career, whatever future steps, whatever you decide to work on in the future. I hope that all goes well. But thank you so much for hopping on today, and thank you all for tuning in.